This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and just going to do a little quick reflection on Wrestlemania 31. Once again, thank you to everyone who came through and watched the podcast. Really appreciate the support for that. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. It was a blast doing, especially following the year's first good pay-per-view for WWE. I know with the Royal Rumble and the Fastlane one, all of us, me, Flying Modem, Gaming Enclave, we were all kind of, there was stuff that we liked, but we were pretty much, for the most part, down on those pay-per-views. This one, we all enjoyed the hell out of it. I mean, there was just stuff that we were just pointing out. It was one of the first pay-per-views in a minute that I can recall myself giving mostly positive tweets and retweets, as opposed to the normal, just retarded snipes that I would take at WWE for their stupidity and their ridiculousness. This time, they did the damn thing right. And it's what you should do, especially for WrestleMania. I don't know if this is going to be the start of something that's going to continue as the year goes on. I hope so. I hope as we go on, they continue to do good pay-per-views. They start to do very good shows with good segments and good lead-ins into the pay-per-views, because the pay-per-view, the Raw before this WrestleMania was just so bland. It was so, corny. And I really, really, really was going into this year's WrestleMania thinking we're going to get a couple of good matches, but we're going to get a lot of bullshit as well. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, WWE, from an old school wrestling fan. Because you proved me wrong. You definitely proved me wrong, and I was so happy to be proven wrong in that instant. The Seth Rollins cash in, just brilliant. Let's just go from the start. I have to even say, even during the pre-show, there were some pretty good matches. That 4-way, all the tag teams did a good job. Even the ones that you have to admit, you may not like the New Day, or you may not like the Los Matadores. You may not like the Usos. You may not like Kid and Cesaro. But you have to give credit where credit is due. They all did their part in making this a good performance. A match that I had said that it's kind of lame that they have a championship match on a pre-show. But these guys act just like they were on the main show. And that was great because they gave us an entertaining match. Am I saying it was one of the best matches? No, but it was entertaining. You can't really say that it was a bad match. It may not have been a match you wanted to see, but you can't say that it was a bad match. It was actually pretty entertaining to see that match go down. And like I said before, I know a lot of people scared the New Day were going to win. Like I've always said, I like all the wrestlers. I just don't like the gimmick. I think that if WWE can find a new way to approach these three wrestlers, I think they could do a lot of great things, and people can, dig them. I think they can win the crowd over. They just need to get rid of the New Day thing. I don't think people like that. Coming from an African American's perspective, it is borderline disrespectful, the whole singing and dancing, three black guys coming out to gospel music thing. It's you're kind of towing a line of that old school shucking and jiving thing. But from a wrestling fan's perspective, gimmicks like these and like the Los Matadores, they're unnecessary. They don't necessarily get over anymore. This is like the 80s cartoon era of wrestling type of stuff with the New Day and Los Matadores. We don't need that anymore in WWE. Just make these guys, make them interested in another way. This is not an interesting or compelling look for either of these teams. It's like basically Los Matadores without El Torito, people probably wouldn't even be able to stomach watching their matches. And the New Day, the visceral response to them, it seems to be the only entertainment that people get out of them, which is sad because, again, I like those wrestlers. They're good wrestlers. I feel bad for Xavier Woods too, because Xavier Woods, Consequence Creed used to be fucking ridiculous. Now look at him. They got him in a clown show. That's not right. Big E, that dude could be like a crazy, cool, dominant big guy. Nope. They have him as, his whole stick now is, I'm the big sweaty guy. Really? Really, guys? Really? And Kofi Kingston has always been that guy who could just not get completely over. He's gotten over in spots, but he's never got completely over. And he's such a great athletic talent. They just need to find some way to they need to find a groove with them and stick with that, and not with the cartoonish stuff. That stuff went out with the 80s. Attitude Era pretty much wrecked gimmicks like those for people who watch wrestling. Straight up. Unless you're being satirical with it, it does not work at all. But no, that match was good. Even the Battle Royal was pretty good. I didn't expect the Battle Royal to be entertaining. I expected it to be kind of corny, but it really, really did like certain spots of it. I was glad to see Hideo Itami in there. And he got a little bit of a spot with the Big Show thing. Dude's nice. I can't wait to see when he gets pulled up to the roster. He can put on some great, amazing matches. Sadly, though, being from NXT, they're few and far between the WWE has done right by. Take Seth, take Roman, take Dean, take Bray. Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, thankfully, coming up with Bray, they've survived the WWE bullshit that usually happens to NXT people. But outside of that, I can't think of anyone else who came from NXT and is a significant player in the WWE. Too few and far between. It's too much talent to have that happen. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. But that Battle Royal was cool. Big Show winning, I'm good with it. But I was glad to see the Damon Sandow thing. Now maybe we could propel that and hopefully propel Sandow to getting his run. Again, this is another NXT guy who comes up and pretty much has nothing really done with them. It's been squandered. Hopefully they can find a niche for him so he can have his moment to shine, because I really do like Damon Sandow. He's a good wrestler. And he does have personality. He's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So once we get to the main show, I was worried because first I was surprised that they were going to put the Intercontinental match first. That kind of threw me, but it ended up being a good match. Damian Sandow, but Daniel Bryan winning. That was a good call. There were 3 people who could have been accepted as winning. He was one of them. He was probably the most acceptable one. And thinking back to what we were saying on the podcast, I do have to agree with Flying Modem. There is some concern now that he's just going to be this mid-card guy who just flounders around and he won't get back to the spot where he was. I mean, because it's pretty sad because he brought up Dolph Ziggler as well. And Dolph Ziggler is another classic case of that. Dolph Ziggler was propelled up to the World Championship when the belts were split. And then he was knocked back down. He floundered around as a jobber. Got a little run as an Intercontinental Champion. But for the most part, he's just been a spot guy since they took the World Championship belt off him. Now that Daniel Bryan is safely removed, I guess in Vince's mind, from the championship, he could end up being that spot guy again, and that's not good. That's not good. He should be in the running, but I will gladly take his Intercontinental reign because that sets up a lot of great matchups on the quote-unquote mid-card level. Guys who probably should be making a push but can't get the opportunity. This gives them a really healthy target to go after so that when they're wrestling against the champ, people are going to pay attention because it's someone who a lot of people respect, a lot of people like, or a lot of people know or care about, at least in some aspect. People like Wade Barrett, nobody really cares about him. No disrespect to Wade Barrett, but nah. And the whole carousel of champions, they kind of made the Intercontinental title so fucking not inconsequential that you need someone of the stature of Daniel Bryan to be the champ and to bring some luster back on it. And I think in that aspect, it made that whole segment where they had him in the interview and all of the former Intercontinental champs, all the legends showed up. I think that was a really cool thing to do. I think that was a good sign that maybe we are about to see the Intercontinental title be that important stepping stone to the next tier like it was, because you look back and you see all the great people who held that title and how some of them went from being Intercontinental champ to getting their shot at the title. People like, Ric Flair did it, Bret Hart did it, things like that. It shows you that, hey, maybe they're taking this shit serious now, and I really, really hope they are taking it serious. I hope it helps the product when the championships mean something, because then people will get a lot more invested in your pay-per-view championship matches, and you can flesh out your pay-per-view with more significant matches instead of the usual just throw these combos together and there's a pay-per-view like they've been doing recently. Of course, things just ramped completely up. By the way, still wondering how Dean Ambrose is. Hopefully on Raw we'll see that he's alive, because goddamn, he went through that ladder he snapped the fucking ladder in half. Insane. Jeez, his body has to be fucked up. Anyway, things ramped up with the Randy Orton Seth match, and it was kind of a thrown-in match always to me, but man, they put on a show, because you had to give Seth a spot, and Randy Orton, of course, being Randy Orton, he had to have a spot, so it worked, the rivalry, and they took it and they ran with it. They did a great job of it. It had some great moments, but I'm still debating if this was probably the best individual moment as far as a move is concerned. I can't say it's the best individual moment of WrestleMania, because we'll get to that later, but as far as moves, in-ring occurrences like that, that RKO is the greatest RKO ever. And my boy said it too in the, I think Flying Motorman Game and Enclave, they said it too last night. It was like, nobody thought that they'd be able to top that Evan Bourne thing. Everybody always thought the Evan Bourne one was the greatest RKO ever. When he catches Evan Bourne coming from the airborne and hit him with the RKO. Shooting star press into an RKO. It's fucking sick. Fucking phenomenal. This right here makes that shit looks like child's play. The setup, the coordination, the timing, it was done so beautiful. Seth flips over Randy. Randy goes to hit him. He kicks him, has him down on one knee. He's getting back up. Seth sees his opportunity, curb stomp the shit out of this dude. No, as soon as his foot touched his head, Randy pops up and throws him higher in the air. Perfect timing, catches him, and boom, RKO. The replay, I had to see the slow-mo replay because I didn't understand what was going on when it happened. I was fucking like, what the fuck just happened? And even seeing it in slow-mo, you're just like, they must have practiced the shit out of that. That was just awesome. For someone who being one of the older stars who I think takes up slots from the younger generation, hats off, Randy Orton, because you made your time at WrestleMania this year damn entertaining and validated the hell out of that. That was great. That was a great moment. Moving quickly through the rest of it, there was, even with the lesser matches, there was still some good stuff. There were some cool things in the Divas match, by the way. For instance, Didn't really. It wasn't one of those things that you really were invested in, probably. But if you did watch, you did see some cool stuff. Even though it was kind of a bathroom break type of moment. The fucking Triple H though, that was insane. I know a lot of people. They had issues with the whole NWO DX stuff. They may think it was a little too much. It was great for the fans. It was great nostalgia for a wrestling fan. And I think mostly Smarks really don't care for it. And Smarks, they're a funny crowd because when you know a lot and when you think you know a lot more than you do, you tend to feel kind of jaded towards things because you feel like you got the answers. Always feel like you have the answers. And in this instance, I don't think they're right. I really don't think they're right at all. I think that it was just entertaining. And that's the thing. It's like you're so caught up in the logic of these things that you forget about why we watch wrestling. It's just entertaining, and that was one of those moments. The in-ring match, by the way, was really good. Sting looked good. Triple H looked good. The psychology, the back and forth, the high spots, they were done very, very well. The ending, I agree, because someone said in the comments like they didn't really care for the finish. The ending, it could have went other ways, but for the most part, that was a solid moment, solid match. It was great to see them shake at the end. I thought that was just pure entertainment. One final note on that, I still maintain that Triple H's intro last year with the throne and all that and the like cupbearers, and that was his best intro. This Terminator one was okay. It was cool, but it wasn't as good in my opinion. That's just me. What else we got going on here now? I went to the Divas. What am I missing before I get to the Rusev? No, I think that's it. The Rusev match, hey, it went the way that it went. I was kind of ticked to see John Cena win, only in the sense that he always has to be the one to put a stop to stuff, like we were saying last night on the podcast. And that kind of irks me because I feel like someone else could have had that opportunity to say, yo, I took down Rusev. Some up-and-comer could have got that moment and gotten a push from that. John Cena, I have to check myself in a way, too, because I said months ago that John Cena winning the title wouldn't be actually a bad thing in the sense that it puts the title on someone of significance and makes the title seem somewhat prominent, having a bigger star, a big attraction holding it. That being said, it still kind of sucks that he can't not be the one to take the high spot as far as history is concerned. It's like he puts a stop to a lot of people's streaks, a lot of what they're doing and everything like that. It would be nice to see a younger person get that opportunity, but the match was great. Rusev is killing it as a heel. He does what a heel is supposed to do. His reaction when he ran into Lana is classic heel. You know, he runs into Lana, he sees that Cena catches him, Cena beats him. His reaction is, why the fuck you fucked this up? It's not, damn it, I lost, because when you're a heel, it's never your fault when you lose. It's always something else that causes you to lose, because there's no way that anybody can beat you, because you're the best. That was his reaction. Classic heel shit. He laid into Lana, like, what are you doing? You know, that is great. It was really, really well done. But now we have Cena as the U.S. champ, so we'll see how that goes. They still have a good rivalry with him and RAIDMAX. Can't wait to see the next matches because it's been pretty good. You have to admit, even if you don't like Cena, the matchups with did I say RAIDMAX before? I mean Rusev. So apologies for messing that up. Oops, I blew the spot, people. Anyway, but yeah, the matches with Rusev and John Cena have been really entertaining. This rivalry is pretty cool. By the way, John Cena, your intro sucked. The whole "We the People" stuff, that was like horrible, especially following the awesomeness that was Rusev's intro. The whole band playing the Russian anthem, holding the flags, then you just see Rusev roll up onto the spot in an authentic Russian fucking tank. God damn, that was cool. And this comes out with the Russian jacket on, and then he goes to the that shit was fire. Nice one, Rusev. You had a great WrestleMania moment right there. Then the Ronda Rousey, Triple H, Rock, Stephanie thing. It was cool, I guess. It went on a little bit too long. I guess they were stretching, trying to fill in some time before they got to the last two matches. Because at that point, I think they were a little bit early anyways, because by the time the Rock segment ended, we were exactly in the last hour. We just started in the last hour. So then you knew that they were going to give both of these last matches a good 20-30 minutes apiece at that time. And the Bray Wyatt Undertaker match, loved it. Me and Flying Modem weren't impressed with Undertaker's intro because it was kind of just a plain intro. We were kind of expecting a lot more for Undertaker's return, but just seeing the Undertaker back still gave you those goosebumps like it always did. Undertaker WrestleMania is always going to be a great moment, and like I said in a tweet last night, I'm not a big fan of part-timers like Triple H is doing his one-time-a-year thing, having to be on WrestleMania every year, even though he's the CEO of WWE. He doesn't have to fill that slot, and the younger person can get that slot. The Rock having a WrestleMania moment, love The Rock, but The Rock only showing up to WrestleManias around the time of his movies dropping. That doesn't sit well with me. Even Brock Lesnar being champ, it bothers me, even though I, again, love Brock, love what he does, and love what Paul Heyman does for him. But the fact that your champ only shows up every 3 months and maybe does a championship match was kind of lame. I need more exposure to the belt in that aspect, and that's where I had a problem with the whole Brock Lesnar thing. But Undertaker is the exception to the rule. He is one of the, if not the greatest icon in wrestling. When it comes to WrestleMania, that is, WrestleMania and the Undertaker are kind of inseparable. Until he retires, he should be able to do whatever he fucking wants. Let that man come back if he wants to. Hey, I don't mind, because it's the Undertaker. It's the Undertaker. But that match, very well done. Bray Wyatt killing it with the psychology, with the selling. When he had that look on his face when he was doing the spider walk, and the Undertaker did the sit up and looked at him, and the look on his face was classic, because it was a true shit type of moment. Like, fuck, what do I do now? God damn it. I mean, it was great. It was great. I would love seeing old school. I know a lot of people say Undertaker just looks old, slow, but he still was able to pull off some stuff, do some things in the ring. Just his presence alone is great. And seeing him win, and then seeing him in the middle of the ring, head down, that's just like the geek out moment for your inner wrestler, your childhood wrestling fan right there. It was a great moment. But last but not least, the fucking main event was off the chain. They did it right. People do not hate on Roman Reigns. He did a good job. Yes, I repeat this. Roman Reigns did a great job. You guys cannot deny that. He carried the match very, very well. He took the beating that he was supposed to take. He had his spots where he tried to make the comeback. He didn't just totally wilt. He got crushed, but he didn't get crushed like a punk. He kept fighting, and he kept fighting at the right moments. He had his spots. They worked it well to where Brock was dominant, but Roman Reigns had a presence, and he proved to you that, hey, this dude's tough. He can take it. He may not be ready to be champ, but he can be eventually, is what I got from the way that the match was carried. Now, thought it was great. Got up to the point where Brock gives him that third F5, and we see them both kind of laid out, because Brock had just took a bunch of Superman punches and a couple of spears, and he was able to pull that off. You got them both just like teetering, and then you hear the music. Seth Rollins, you fucking genius. And again, like I said last night, I give Paul Heyman all credit to this, because I can't think of anybody in WWE creative that could have thought of this finish for a match. Seth Rollins comes out and he cashes in during the middle of the match. Now, one, I'm surprised that they said this was the first time in WrestleMania history that someone's cashed in. I found that weird. Two, I think this is the first time that anyone's ever cashed in the middle of a match. I can't recall. If you know of any other circumstance, please let me know. I don't recall anybody ever cashing in the middle of a match, but it was brilliant because what it did was it set it up as a three-way, which made total sense to how they ended it, because you had Seth come, hit Brock with the curves, kick Roman Reigns out the ring because he's fucked up, hits Brock with the curve stomp because he knows I gotta like punish this dude more. He's not going like straight down. And then he tries to set up another one. Brock catches his ass, and you're like, oh shit, Seth's about to fucking botch the cash in. But then Roman Reigns comes out of nowhere and spears Brock. And, I know a lot of you all at that point were like, oh, fuck, they're going to give it to Reigns. Nope. He saves Seth enough so that Seth can come back, curve stomp his ass. And because it's a triple threat, you don't have to pin the champ. He quickly pins Roman Reigns and runs the hell out of that ring with that belt. Everybody's in awe. Crowd's going nuts. Half shock, half excitement. Just everybody's going crazy. I'm over here going crazy. Flying Modem's going crazy with the tweets to me. Gaming Enclave didn't hit me immediately, but I know he was fucking going bonkers too. Everybody had to been going nuts. That shit was fucking great. It's fucking awesome. And the helicopter spin, yo. He takes the belt, he gets to the top of the ring, and he spins it around his head. All I could think about was this old P.D. Pablo song. Some of you might be too young to know the song. When he goes, North Carolina, go ahead and raise up, take your shirt off, wrap it around your head, spinning like a helicopter. That's pretty much what he did. He did the helicopter spin. He spun that shit like, it was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah. Great excitement from Seth Rollins. Oh my god, the celebration just helped put it even more over the top. As you can see, WrestleMania made a great impression on me, and that's something that WWE hasn't done to me in a very long time. Things weren't perfect. If I wanted to nitpick, I probably could, but I'd be nitpicking just to be nitpicking, only because for the most part, everything was executed pretty much to a T. They hit their moments right this year. There's nothing in the way of like the Cena going over Bray Wyatt moment in this pay-per-view to me. You know, something that stood out that made me like, yeah, I didn't really care for it. Even finishes like the Triple H one, like I didn't think that Triple H was going to win or should win. Even I was accepting of that because the way that they got to it was done so well that you can overlook personal preference in that case. You know what I mean? They just executed things pretty much, you know, I won't say perfect, but they were damn near. And this is one of the better WrestleManias that I've seen in God knows how long. Even the matches that you didn't care for, you have to admit, you didn't want the Brock Roman Reigns, but what you got was a great show from a match you didn't want. You know what I mean? And that's the thing, that's the beauty of this WrestleMania, is that even if you didn't care for the premise in the beginning, you had to have left from this feeling like, yo, they did a damn good job. Now let's just see if they're going to possibly botch the Raw follow-up to this. But just wanted to share those last minute thoughts, my final thoughts after taking a day to relax and chill out and kind of calm down a little bit. Now I got myself all hyped up again, but WrestleMania 31, definitely great. Now all I need is for WWE is to build on this stuff. But anyway, once again, thank you for coming through for the podcast. We will be back with the Raw review. I'm going to try to coordinate it so that we can get Flying Modem back on, because I think his opinion for the way they execute the aftermath of WrestleMania is going to be very valid, because we've all were there watching this. Now we get to see immediately what the effects of this is going to be, how they're going to play it, and this kind of helps get an idea of what the future holds for other pay-per-views when Flying Modem will be on to help review. And thank you again, sir, for always showing up for those pay-per-view reviews. Appreciate you coming through. But anyway, I'm out of here. I'm done. 30 minutes. Goddamn, didn't think I was going to go this long, but it was a great show. It was a really great show, and this is probably one of the few times that you'll see this on this channel, because normally my videos are 10-15 minutes because I cover a lot of stuff, but it's not as exciting or as positive as this one. So as I was saying, hit me up, let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Megas, and I'm out. Deuces.